Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for my top 10 comic books of the week. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and this is my top 10 comic books of the week. It's not a spec list, just a list of my favorite comic books of the week. At number 10, we have Resonant number 6. This is from Vault Comics. It's written by David Andry with artwork by Skylar Patridge, lettering by Darren Bennett, and coloring by Jason Wordie. Now, this is the long-awaited return of Resonant. The first volume came out last year. I really liked it. It's about a world. It's kind of post-apocalyptic. This is definitely perfect for fans of books like The Walking Dead. It's kind of like survival horror. It's got that vibe going on. But in this world, these waves hit. And when a wave hits, whatever weird impulse is at the tip of your brain, or just underneath the surface, I should say, gets unleashed. So if you have this idea of what would my arms look like without skin, for the next few minutes, you're going to be clawing the skin off of your arm. So it's a very dangerous time. It's really cool, but it's got this heart root of a family. So Andrew continues to deliver the story. He doesn't skip a beat. This picks up directly where Arc 1 left off. So if you're trying to jump in on this issue, I would definitely recommend that you actually get the first trade paperback. We got a new artist, Skylar Patridge or Patridge. I'm not quite sure on that, but she's got a completely different style than the previous artist, but you got the consistency lent by Jason Wordie's colors, which have such a great amount of texture to them, and then Darren Bennett with the lettering, and actually the lettering almost seems audible, and so does the artwork. And of course, Skylar is adapting and shifting her form and style for this book to fit the atmosphere. Resonant number 6 from Vault was the number 10 book of the week. At number 9, we've got Dark Knight's Death Metal number 6. It's the penultimate issue of Dark Knight's Death Metal. Now, no surprise to anybody that checks out the channel, but I absolutely love and adore and cherish each and every moment of Scott Snyder's Metal, Justice League, and Death Metal. This has been a culmination of a story that he's been telling for a while. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It feels like he's having a lot of fun with it, especially with his partner in crime, Greg Capullo. The artwork in this book is fantastic. It's some of his best, big, boisterous, explosive work. It really scratches that multiversal crisis itch that I constantly have and desire out of my comic books. I know it's not for everybody, but I'm loving every moment of it. And I love how Scott and Greg and company are able to actually tell a subtextual story about the state of DC, about the state of comic books, about the state of reboots, relaunches, and all this kind of stuff, and basically embracing the idea, which we hold firmly true here at PCP, that every story matters. At number 9, Dark Knight's Death Metal number 6. At number 8, we've got Solid Blood number 17. Now, was this issue as good as the previous 16? I don't know. We didn't get to read those, but this is one of those surprise comic books from Robert Kirkman and Ryan Ottley. It's printed on newsprint paper. And I absolutely love this book. I think it's super fantastic. It was really fun. It takes you back to the 90s, 100%. Because, first of all, the newsprint, that's really cool. It drops you mid-story. It's insanely violent. It's insanely extreme. But Solid Blood I had a lot of fun with. This is a nice big tribute to some of those random and well-known Image comics from the 90s. I think I told my boss earlier, it felt like when I was a kid and I grabbed a random issue of Brigade off the shelf and went home and read it and loved it. That's what Solid Blood 17 felt like to me, and I think that was what Kirkman and Ottley were trying to do. So, yeah, there you go. So that was number 8. And at number 7, then, yes. At number 7, we have Stillwater, number 4. I'm loving this book. I said it in the weekly comic book review, and if you want more comprehensive thoughts on these books and more books, check out the weekly comic book review for sure if you don't already. Stillwater number 4 is great, and I said on that video, it's amazing that pretty much after the first issue, which was a really great setup, structurally a great setup for the entirety of the story, but it felt like the last 3 issues, they've just been explaining things. So they could, be that unbearable word exposition-y. But the way that Zdarsky, the way that Perez and Spicer, the way they're working this story together, it's incredibly engaging and very compelling. It's about this town in which nobody ages and they can't die. They can't get hurt. Like, they do get hurt, but they just heal from it. As long as they stay in the confines of this town, and they're very secretive and they got these very strict rules. And then an outsider who used to be an insider shows up and it throws everything out of whack. So like I said, a bunch of just explaining and building up the characters and the character of the town. But Zdarsky and Perez are able to do it in such a firm and purposeful way that it's incredibly engaging. And I loved it. So Stillwater, number 4 from Image Comics. That's coming in at number 7. Yes. And so at number 6, we've got Rorschach, issue number 3 from DC Black Label, written by Tom King, with artwork by Jorge Fornes. I didn't show you any artwork in Stillwater or Death Metal. This is going to take some getting used to. First of all, I really like the artwork in this book. Jorge Fornes does this great noirish type style, especially with those slightly bleak colors from Dave Stewart that are totally tonally appropriate for the book. But after reading the last issue and understanding, I feel, a little bit more about what Tom King's actually trying to do with this book, I had a lot of fun with it. And so you got this new Rorschach, and there's a murder mystery. The first issue starts with this new Rorschach, and he's dead, and his sidekick. In the second issue, they explain this Rorschach, and he's got a connection to a real-life Steve Ditko, right? And then in the third issue, they give us the origin of his sidekick, of his new partner. And really great, cool stuff. And I love what Tom King's exploring here. The artwork's great. It's a nice tribute to something like The Watchmen. But unlike a lot of other tributes to The Watchmen, like, say, any before Watchmen stuff or Doomsday Clock, it doesn't confine itself to that 9-panel grid. It doesn't confine itself to the panel structure of the original Watchmen. It does its own thing artistically, and it's doing its own thing story-wise, but at the same time feels a bit connected. So we got Rorschach number 3 coming in at number 6. And now it's time for my top 5. And right now, go ahead and list your top 5, top 3, top 1, whatever books of the month, and we'll chat about those as soon as we wrap up. At number 5, we have Sarah and the Royal Stars, issue number 10. This is from Vault Comics. This is the final issue of this fantasy story that's got a lot of Middle Eastern and Eastern influence into it, and it gets kind of thrown in with the Zodiac and its symbology and all that kind of stuff. Really cool. John Sway's done a great job, a great very satisfying ending to this saga. I'm not usually the biggest fantasy fan, but this one really grabbed me and kept me hooked through great characterization and just a nice quest for the heroes in the story. Sarah and the Royal Stars ends fantastically. Audrey Mock, the artwork has been fantastic. Raul Angulo, Jim Campbell, the entire team. So really just hats off to them. If I could, but I got headphones and a Santa hat on. But Sarah and the Royal Stars, number 10, was a fantastic finale. At number 4, We Live, number 3. I say this on the weekly comic book review. I'm just going to repeat myself. This book is taking me by surprise every single issue. It blows me away. I do not know where this story is going. It's a simple concept. The Earth is doomed. We know we're doomed. This alien race has showed up. They're like, we're going to take, 2,000, 5,000 of your children. They got to wear these things. They got to meet us, and we'll take them away from Earth. You're going to be destroyed, but at least humanity will live on. So this is about the journey of a group of these kids, or at least one in particular, to this meeting spot. And what you thought was going to be based on an entire concept is actually the concept's just kind of the set dressing, and it's actually each issue is doing its own unique one-and-done story that takes twists and turns in the overall narrative that I just never see coming. The artwork is great, the story is great, the characters are fantastic, and just the way that everything moves and you can't figure this one out, it just blows me away. We Live, number 3, from the Miranda Brothers and Aftershock. That's coming in at number 4. At number 3, we have King in Black Immortal Hulk, number 1. It's a one-shot comic book written by Al Ewing with artwork by Alan Cutter. I really, really like this book. I thought it was great. It's a silent issue. As if any comic book is silent, it's this one, though all of them, I guess, technically are silent. There's no dialogue, right? It's all done through the images. I keep forgetting to show you the images. First of all, I love that this story is called Black Christmas, but the artwork is amazing, and it does a great job of telling us this story, which is set in the King in Black story, but it's not essential to the overall narrative of that story. But it does a great job of just telling us a nice, fun Christmas story involving a very childlike version of the Hulk. I enjoyed this immensely. If you can craft a great silent comic book and completely tell me the story with all the nuance and emotional resonance that's prevalent in a book like this, that is really exactly what comic books are supposed to do, is tell a striking story dynamically and emotionally through images. And that's just exactly what they did here. An Immortal Hulk, King in Black tie-in. At issue number 2, we've got Decorum. Decorum number 6. This is finally 6 out of 8 issues. This is when all the different elements that Hickman's been building up actually start coming together. So there's been, of course, a plan, a goal, an end game, and I'm excited to see it develop because we've given so much thought and build up of these different areas of the story that now, as they're starting to converge, it feels rewarding. It doesn't just feel like part of the story. It feels like you are deserving of this or something, like you're along with the ride and it's all coming together, and it's just such a fun experience. Plus, you got Mike Huddleston pumping out some of the absolute best artwork I've ever seen in comic books. Each page is different. Each scene has a complete different coloring style. And sometimes you can definitely tell that it's incredibly purposeful. I think it's all purposeful. I think this is such an amazing book. Amazing, brilliant world building. Fantastic, striking artwork that is, to me, incredibly innovative and next level, like a mug. Decorum number 6 is my number 2 book of the week. And at number 1, we already know it, the pick of the week, Once and Future number 14. Come on, right? So Once and Future is an amazing book. Now, let me tell you something about this. You got Kieran Gillen doing the writing, Dan Mora, Tamara Bonvillain on the artwork, Ed Dukeshire on the coloring. This has been such a consistently brilliant book that does have, in my opinion, the best coloring in a comic book in 2020 is in the pages of Once and Future. This book is so brilliant. And everything that this book has been doing well so far is just perfectly on display at issue number 14. There's everything is so perfect. The line work by Mora is incredibly precise. The coloring by Bonvillain is bold. The choices are dynamic and they pop you. You know, the lettering is super solid. The story is great. And the way that Gillen is able to continue this story going on, I absolutely love this book. It's fantastic. It's definitely, for me, the book of the week, even beating out Decorum. I know. Anyway, that's what I thought. What'd you think? What are your favorite books of the week? Let us know right now in the comments below, in the live chat. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for checking out the video. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs and a whole lot more. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading. Station.